Alicia Grant thought winning a raffle for dinner would be the luckiest night of her life, until she discovered the charming stranger across the table was hiding a billion-dollar secret. When the truth shattered their fairy tale evening, she walked away with her pride intact, but Daniel Whitmore couldn't let her go. Then his ice-cold mother showed up at her diner with an ultimatum that would break most women, but Alicia wasn't most women. What happened next at that family dinner would expose a shocking betrayal, flip the power dynamic completely, and prove that sometimes the girl they underestimate is exactly the one who changes everything. This is the story of a woman who refused to play small, a man who risked it all, and the moment when love became the ultimate revenge against those who said she'd never be enough. Subscribe and comment below if you've ever been underestimated, because this story is about to show you what happens when you bet against the wrong person. The smell of coffee and bacon grease hung in the air. Alicia wiped down the counter for what felt like the 100th time that day. Her feet ached. Her back hurt. The clock on the wall said 7:30, which meant she'd been on her feet for 9 hours straight. "Table 6 needs more ketchup," Frank called from the kitchen. Alicia grabbed the bottle and headed over. She smiled at the elderly couple sitting there, even though her face felt tired. "Here you go, Mr. Patterson." "You're an angel," the old man said. She wasn't an angel. She was just tired. But she smiled anyway, because that's what you did when you needed tips to pay rent. The diner was half empty now. The dinner rush had ended an hour ago. Just a few stragglers remained, people nursing coffee, reading newspapers, killing time before heading home to empty apartments. Alicia knew all about empty apartments. The bell above the door jingled. Maya burst in, her braids swinging. She waved a cream-colored envelope in the air like a flag. "Girl, you are not going to believe this." Alicia looked up from wiping table 6. "What?" "Check your mail." Maya was practically bouncing. At 26, she still had that kind of energy. Alicia used to have it too, before life wore her down a bit. "I've been at work since 10 this morning. I haven't checked anything." Maya rushed over and thrust the envelope into her hands. The paper felt thick, expensive. Gold trim ran along the edges. "Open it," Maya insisted. Alicia's fingers trembled as she slid them under the flap. Inside was a card printed on heavy cardstock. The words were embossed, raised up from the paper like little hills. "Congratulations, Ms. Grant. You have won our exclusive mystery dinner experience. A car will collect you at 7 p.m. this Saturday for an evening of fine dining with a special companion. Dress code: elegant evening wear." "What is this?" Alicia stared at the card. "You entered that raffle at the mall, remember? Like 3 months ago?" Alicia's mind went back. She'd been buying dish soap at the drugstore. There was a table outside with balloons and a sign, "Win a magical evening." A perky woman had asked if she wanted to enter. It was free, so Alicia scribbled her name on a form and forgot about it. "I never win anything," she whispered. "Well, you won this." Maya grabbed her shoulders. "You're going on a mystery dinner date." "With who?" "That's why it's called a mystery, genius." Alicia looked down at the card again. Part of her felt excited. Another part felt suspicious. This seems too good to be true. So what? When was the last time something good happened to you? That was a fair question. Alicia worked 6 days a week at the diner. She came home to their tiny apartment, ate leftovers, watched TV, and went to bed. She'd been doing that for 3 years, ever since she moved to the city. "What if it's some kind of scam?" she asked. "Then you get a free meal before they try to sell you a timeshare." Maya grinned. "Come on, Alicia. Live a little." The words stung, but only because they were true. Alicia had stopped living a little. She'd stopped living a lot. After her last boyfriend, the one who said he loved her but disappeared when his friends made jokes about dating the help, she'd built walls. Tall ones. Thick ones. "I don't even have anything to wear," she said. "Yes, you do. That cream dress you got for your cousin's wedding. That was 2 years ago. Still fits. I saw it in your closet." Alicia tucked the card into her apron pocket. "I'll think about it." "You better do more than think, girl. This is happening in 4 days. Saturday came too fast. Alicia stood in front of her bathroom mirror staring at herself. The cream satin dress hugged her curves in all the right places. It had thin straps and a modest neckline, elegant without trying too hard. Her dark skin glowed against the light fabric. She'd spent an hour on her hair, making sure each curl fell perfectly around her face. A little mascara, some lip gloss, small gold earrings her grandmother had given her. "You look like a queen," Maya said from the doorway. "I look scared." "Those can both be true." Maya stepped into the bathroom and adjusted one of Alicia's curls. "But seriously, you're gorgeous. This guy is going to take one look at you and forget his own name. What if he's weird? Then you eat the expensive food and leave. What if I use the wrong fork? Maya laughed. There's no wrong fork. Rich people just make up rules to feel superior. You're going to be fine. A car horn honked outside. Alicia's stomach dropped. That's him. I mean, that's the car. You got your phone? Yes. Pepper spray? Maya, I'm not bringing pepper spray to a dinner date. Fine, but text me every hour. I want proof of life. Alicia grabbed her small clutch purse, also from the wedding 2 years ago, and headed for the door. Her heels clicked on the wooden stairs as she descended from their second-floor apartment. Outside sat a black town car, sleek, shiny, the kind of vehicle she'd only seen in movies. A driver in a dark suit stood by the rear door. "Ms. Grant?" he asked. "That's me." He opened the door. The interior smelled like leather and something expensive she couldn't name. Maybe success, maybe dreams. She slid inside. The door closed with a solid thunk. The driver got in front, and they pulled away from the curb. Alicia watched her apartment building disappear behind them. Her heart hammered in her chest. The city rolled by outside, familiar streets transforming into unfamiliar ones. They drove through neighborhoods where she'd never set foot, past boutiques with mannequins wearing outfits that cost more than her monthly rent, past buildings made of glass and steel that touched the sky. Finally, the car slowed. They pulled up to a restaurant with a burgundy awning and soft golden light spilling from its windows. A discreet brass sign read, "Lumière." The driver opened her door. Alicia stepped onto the sidewalk. Her legs felt wobbly. "Enjoy your evening, miss," the driver said. A doorman in white gloves pulled open the restaurant's entrance. Warm air washed over her. Music played softly, something classical with violins and piano. The sound wrapped around her like silk. Inside, the restaurant was even more beautiful than she'd imagined. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, each one sparkling like a constellation of stars. The walls were painted a deep cream color. Artwork in gold frames decorated every surface. The floor was dark hardwood, polished to a mirror shine. Every table had white linen tablecloths. Polished silverware gleamed under the light. Wine glasses caught the glow from the chandeliers and threw tiny rainbows across the walls. Alicia had never been anywhere like this, not even close. A hostess in a black dress appeared. She had perfect posture and a practiced smile. "Ms. Grant?" "Yes." "Right this way, please." They walked through the dining room. Other guests sat at their tables, speaking in low voices. Women wore elegant dresses and jewelry that probably cost more than Alicia's car, if she'd had a car. Men wore dark suits and expensive watches. Everyone looked like they belonged here. Alicia felt like an imposter. The hostess led her to a table near a window. The view overlooked a small courtyard garden with twinkling lights strung between trees. It looked magical, like something from a fairy tale. "Your companion will arrive shortly," the hostess said. "May I offer you something to drink while you wait?" Alicia's throat felt dry. "Red wine, please." "Excellent choice. I'll have the sommelier select something special for you." The hostess glided away. Alicia sat down carefully, afraid to wrinkle her dress. The chair was more comfortable than her bed at home. A server appeared moments later with a glass of wine. The liquid was deep burgundy, almost purple. He set it down on a small coaster. "Enjoy," he said, and vanished like a ghost. Alicia picked up the glass. The wine smelled like berries and something earthy. She took a small sip. It was smoother than anything she'd ever tasted. Richer. It probably cost more per glass than she made in tips all day. She took another sip to calm her nerves. The other diners talked and laughed. Silverware clinked against china. The violins kept playing their sweet, sad melody. Alicia felt like she was in a movie. Like at any moment someone would yell, "Cut!" and she'd wake up back in her apartment, eating ramen and watching reality TV. She checked her phone. No messages. She thought about texting Maya, but didn't know what to say. "I'm in a fancy restaurant and terrified?" That seemed dramatic. "Excuse me." The voice came from behind her. Deep, warm, the kind of voice that made you want to listen. Alicia turned. A man stood there, and for a moment she forgot how to breathe. He was tall, maybe 6 feet. His skin was pale, his features sharp but kind. Dark hair swept back from his forehead, but it was his eyes that caught her. They were blue. Not just blue, but the color of the ocean on the postcards her grandmother used to send. Clear, honest, beautiful. He wore a tailored suit in royal blue that fit him perfectly. No wrinkles, no loose threads, just clean lines and expensive fabric. Their watch peeked out from under his sleeve. Simple, elegant. the kind that didn't need to shout to prove it was expensive. "I'm Daniel," he said, extending his hand. She stood up quickly, almost knocking over her wine. "Alicia." His hand was warm when she shook it. His grip was firm but gentle. "It's wonderful to meet you," he said. He pulled out his chair and sat down across from her. Their eyes met over the candlelight. Something sparked in Alicia's chest, a flutter, a warmth, something she hadn't felt in a long time. He smiled. "I have to say, that's a beautiful dress." Heat rushed to her cheeks. "Thank you. You look nice, too." Nice? That was the best she could do? This man looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine and she said nice. But he didn't seem to mind. His smile widened. "I'm glad we both made the effort. I wasn't sure what to expect tonight." "Me neither," she admitted. "I almost didn't come." "Really? Why not?" "Because this doesn't happen to people like me." The words slipped out before she could stop them. She wanted to take them back, but they hung in the air between them. Daniel's expression softened. "What do you mean, people like you?" "I work at a diner, I take buses, I share an apartment with my best friend. This," she gestured at the restaurant, "this isn't my world." He leaned forward slightly. "What if I told you it's not really mine either? I'd say you're a liar." She laughed despite herself. "Look at you, you fit right in." Fitting in and belonging are different things. His voice was quiet now, serious. "Sometimes the best part of life is stepping outside your comfort zone." She took another sip of wine. "Is that what you're doing, stepping outside your comfort zone?" "Maybe. Or maybe I'm just hoping to have dinner with someone interesting." "And am I? Interesting? I don't know yet." His eyes sparkled with mischief. "But I'm looking forward to finding out." A server appeared with menus bound in leather. He set them down gently and described the evening's specials in a French accent that sounded straight out of Paris. Alicia understood maybe half the words he said. When he left, Daniel looked at her over his menu. "Have you been here before?" "No." "Have you?" He hesitated, just a fraction of a second. "A few times." "What's good?" "Everything. But the duck is incredible. And the sea bass." Alicia scanned the menu. Her eyes nearly popped out of her head when she saw the prices. The cheapest entree cost $60. 60. She made that in tips in a good day. "Don't worry about the price," Daniel said softly. "Everything's taken care of tonight." "Right, the raffle." "The raffle," he agreed, but something in his tone made her wonder. She studied him over the top of her menu. He looked relaxed, comfortable, like he ate in places like this every week. Maybe he did. "So what do you do, Daniel?" she asked, setting down her menu. "I work in consulting." "What kind of consulting?" "Business. Investment strategies. Pretty boring stuff, honestly. It pays well, though, if you can eat here a few times." He smiled. "I get by." The server returned. Daniel ordered the duck. Alicia chose the sea bass, mostly because she couldn't pronounce half the other options. When they were alone again, Daniel asked, "Tell me about yourself, Alicia. What do you do when you're not winning raffles?" "Work, mostly. I waitress at Frank's Diner on 5th Street 6 days a week." "That's a lot of work." "Rent's not cheap," she shrugged. "But I like it mostly. The regulars are nice. I know everyone's order by heart. Mrs. Patterson always gets scrambled eggs with wheat toast. Mr. Chen wants coffee with 2 creams, no sugar. It's like a big, weird family." "That sounds nice. Community. What about you? Do you have community?" His smile faltered. "Just for a moment. Not really. My work keeps me pretty busy." "No family?" "My mother. A cousin. We're not that close." There was something in his voice, a loneliness. Alicia recognized it because she heard it in her own voice sometimes, late at night when Maya was asleep and the apartment was quiet. "I get that," she said softly. "My parents passed when I was young. It's just me and Maya, my roommate. She's the closest thing to family I have. I'm sorry about your parents." "It was a long time ago." She traced her finger along the stem of her wineglass. "But thank you." Their appetizers arrived. Tiny, beautiful plates of food arranged like art. Alicia had scallops that melted on her tongue. Daniel had something with truffle oil that smelled like heaven. They talked while they ate. Easy conversation that flowed like the wine. Daniel asked about the diner, about her favorite customers, about what she liked to do on her one day off. "I sleep mostly," she admitted with a laugh. "Read sometimes. There's a library 2 blocks from my apartment. I go through about 3 books a week." "What do you like to read?" "Everything. Mysteries, romance, biographies, whatever catches my eye." "Current favorite?" "There's this series about a woman who solves crimes in her small town. It's silly but fun. Makes me forget about real life for a while." Daniel nodded like he understood. Escape. Exactly. She asked him questions too. Where did he grow up? A small town upstate. What did he study in college? Business and economics. Did he have hobbies? Running, though he hadn't had time lately. He was easy to talk to, easier than she'd expected. There was no pretension in his voice, no condescension. He listened when she spoke, really listened. His eyes never wandered to his phone or around the room. They stayed on her, warm and focused. The main course arrived. Her sea base was perfectly cooked, flaky and tender. It came with vegetables she couldn't name but tasted delicious. Daniel's duck looked equally impressive, the meat fanned out in perfect slices. This is incredible, she said after her first bite. Worth getting dressed up for? Maybe, she smiled. The company's not bad either. He laughed. It was a good laugh, genuine, the kind that made his whole face light up. They were halfway through the meal when something happened. A server approached their table. Not their regular server, but an older man in a more formal uniform. He leaned down and spoke quietly to Daniel. "Excuse me, Mr. Whitmore, but the chef wanted to know if everything was to your satisfaction." Mr. Whitmore. The words hung in the air like smoke. Daniel's expression didn't change, but Alicia saw his jaw tighten. "Yes, thank you. Everything is excellent." The server nodded and walked away. Alicia set down her fork. "Mr. Whitmore, it's just a name. The server seemed to know you pretty well. I told you I've been here a few times." But there was something else now, something in his voice, a defensiveness that hadn't been there before. Alicia's mind raced. Whitmore. Why did that name sound familiar? Then it hit her. She'd seen it on buildings downtown, Whitmore Investments, Whitmore Tower. There was even a Whitmore wing at the hospital where her grandmother had died. Her stomach tightened. "Are you part of those Whitmores?" Daniel met her eyes. For a long moment he didn't answer. "Daniel?" "Yes," he finally said. "I am." The restaurant suddenly felt smaller, the chandeliers too bright, the music too loud. "So when you said you work in consulting," "I do, for my family's company. And when you said you get by," "Alicia, how many times have you actually been here?" He sighed. "A lot. My mother's on the board of directors for the restaurant group." Alicia picked up her wine glass and drained it. The warmth that had filled her chest earlier was gone. In its place was something cold and sharp. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because this is what always happens." His voice was quiet but intense. "I tell people who I am and everything changes. They see the money instead of me. I just wanted one evening where someone saw me." "So you lied." "I didn't lie. I just didn't advertise." "That's the same thing." "Is it?" He leaned forward. "If I'd told you at the start, would you have relaxed? Would we have had this conversation? Or would you have been too busy wondering what I wanted from you?" He had a point. She hated that he had a point. But the magic of the evening was broken. The fairy tale had cracked and reality was seeping through. She thought about the invitation, the car, this restaurant. Of course it wasn't a random raffle. Of course it was something else, something planned. "Did you arrange this whole thing?" she asked. "The raffle?" "No, that was real. I was just as surprised as you were when they matched us. But you knew it wasn't really a random dinner." "I knew it was exclusive. I didn't know who I'd be meeting." Alicia pushed her chair back slightly. She needed space, air, distance. "This is too much," she said. "Please don't leave." "Why?" "So you can see how the other half lives. Is this some kind of social experiment?" "No." His voice was firm now, almost desperate. "Alicia, I like you. The person I've been talking to for the last hour, that's who I wanted to meet. Not someone impressed by money or status, just someone real. Well, I'm real, and I don't belong here." She stood up. Her hands trembled as she grabbed her clutch. "Alicia, wait." But she was already walking, past the other tables, past the hostess station, past the doorman who opened the door with his white gloves. The cool night air hit her face. She stood on the sidewalk, suddenly very aware that she had no car, no plan, and no idea how to get home. Behind her, she heard the door open. "Alicia!" Daniel stood there, his royal blue suit looking slightly rumpled now. His expression was torn between frustration and sadness. "Please," he said, "let me at least give you a ride home. I'll take the bus." "In that dress? At this time of night?" "I've done it before. But you don't have to tonight." She turned to face him fully. "What do you want from me, Daniel? Or Mr. Whitmore, or whoever you are?" "I want to finish dinner. I want to keep talking. I want to know if you prefer mysteries or romance. I want to hear more about Mrs. Patterson and her scrambled eggs. I want—" He stopped, took a breath. "I want to not be alone for one evening." The words hit her harder than she expected. because she understood them. She knew what it was like to feel alone in a crowded city, to work all day surrounded by people but go home to silence. But wanting something didn't make it right, and this, whatever this was, felt wrong, like she was playing a part in someone else's story. "I need to go," she said quietly. She walked away before he could respond. Her heels clicked on the sidewalk. She passed the boutiques and the glass buildings. She found a bus stop and waited in her cream satin dress while the city moved around her. Her phone buzzed. Maya. "How's it going?" Alicia typed back. "Going home, tell you later." The bus came. She got on, paid her fare, and found a seat in the back. Through the window, the city lights blurred together. The restaurant disappeared behind her. So did Daniel. So did the fairy tale that had lasted exactly 90 minutes. When she got home, Maya was waiting on the couch with ice cream and questions. Alicia told her everything. The restaurant, the chandeliers, Daniel's blue eyes and easy laugh. The way he'd listened to her. The way everything had felt perfect until it wasn't. "He's a Whitmore?" Maya's eyes went wide. "Like the Whitmores?" "Apparently." "Girl, those people own half the city." "I know. And he wanted to have dinner with you, I guess." Maya was quiet for a moment, eating her ice cream. Then she said, "What if he really did just want to meet you? Like, as a person?" "That's what he said. But you don't believe him." Alicia pulled her knees to her chest. "I don't know what to believe. People like that don't hang out with people like me, Maya, not for real. Maybe for charity or a tax write-off or a good story, but not for real. Maybe he's different. Or maybe I'm an idiot for even hoping." Maya squeezed her shoulder. "You're not an idiot, you're just scared." Scared. Yes. That was exactly what she was. Because for one perfect hour she'd forgotten about the walls she'd built. She'd let someone in. She'd felt something warm and bright and real. And then reality had crashed through like a wrecking ball. Her phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. "I'm sorry about tonight. I didn't mean to upset you. I just wanted you to know that the person I met was worth more than any dinner at any restaurant. I hope you'll give me a chance to prove that." Daniel Alicia stared at the message for a long time. Then she turned off her phone and went to bed. Outside, the city kept moving. Lights kept shining. Chandeliers kept sparkling in restaurants where people like her didn't belong. But somewhere in her chest, despite everything, a small flame still flickered. Hope. Dangerous, foolish hope. She closed her eyes and tried not to think about blue eyes and easy laughter, and the way Daniel had said her name like it meant something. Sleep came slowly, and when it did, she dreamed of chandeliers. Monday morning came too early. Alicia tied her apron around her waist and grabbed her order pad. The diner was already filling up with the breakfast crowd, coffee brewing, bacon sizzling, Frank shouting orders from the kitchen. Normal, familiar, safe. She poured coffee for Mr. Chen, 2 creams, no sugar. She brought Mrs. Patterson her scrambled eggs and wheat toast. She smiled and took orders and pretended her mind wasn't somewhere else. Pretended she hadn't checked her phone 17 times since waking up. Daniel had texted twice more over the weekend. Both messages were simple, kind. He didn't push, didn't demand, just let her know he was thinking about her. She hadn't responded to any of them. "You okay, honey?" Mrs. Patterson asked, looking up from her eggs. "You seem distracted." "Just tired," Alicia lied. "Well, don't work too hard. You're still young. You should be out having fun, not waiting on old folks like us." If only she knew. The morning rush slowed around 10. Alicia was refilling the sugar dispensers when the bell above the door chimed. She looked up. Her heart stopped. Daniel stood in the doorway. He wasn't wearing his royal blue suit. Instead, he had on jeans and a simple white button-down shirt. He looked more casual, more approachable, but his eyes, those ocean blue eyes, were still the same. And in his hands, he held flowers. Not a dozen roses, not some expensive bouquet from a fancy shop. Just a simple bunch of sunflowers wrapped in brown paper, bright and cheerful and unpretentious. The diner went quiet. Every customer turned to look. Alicia felt her face grow hot. Daniel walked toward her counter. His steps were careful, like he was approaching a skittish animal. "Hi," he said. "Hi." Her voice came out as a whisper. "I hope I'm not interrupting your work." "You are." He winced. "I'm sorry. I wanted to give you these." He held out the sunflowers. "And to apologize." In person. Alicia glanced around. Everyone was watching. Mr. Chen had stopped reading his newspaper. Mrs. Patterson had paused mid-bite. Even Frank was peeking through the kitchen window. She took the flowers because refusing them would cause an even bigger scene. "Thank you," she said stiffly. Is there any chance we could talk? Maybe when you have a break. I don't have a break. She's got one in 15 minutes, Frank called from the kitchen. Alicia shot him a look. Traitor. Daniel's expression brightened. 15 minutes? She sighed. There's a bench outside around the corner. I'll wait there. He left and the diner erupted in whispers. Who was that? Mrs. Patterson asked, eyes twinkling. No one. Honey, a man who brings flowers is never no one. Alicia put the sunflowers in water, an old pickle jar from under the counter. They looked ridiculous next to the ketchup bottles and napkin dispensers, bright and out of place, just like Daniel in her world. The 15 minutes crawled by. Finally, Frank waved her toward the door. Go on, talk to your Prince Charming. He's not my prince. Then why are you blushing? She wasn't blushing. She was overheated from working near the grill. At least, that's what she told herself as she walked outside. Daniel sat on the bench, his hands clasped between his knees. When he saw her, he stood up quickly. Thank you for coming. Alicia crossed her arms. You have 15 minutes. Fair enough. He gestured to the bench. Can we sit? They sat, not close. A careful distance between them. Daniel took a breath. I'm sorry about Saturday night. I should have been honest from the start. Yes, you should have. I know, and I don't have a good excuse. Just a reason. He turned to face her. Money ruins everything, Alicia. Every friendship, every relationship. People look at me and see dollar signs. They want something. Access. Connections. A way up. And I'm tired of it. His voice cracked on the last word. The sound pierced through her anger. So when I got matched with you, someone who didn't know me, didn't know my family, I thought maybe I could just be Daniel for one night. Not Daniel Whitmore, heir to a fortune. Just Daniel, a guy having dinner with a beautiful woman. But that's not reality, Alicia said quietly. I know, and I'm not asking you to ignore reality. I'm just asking for a chance to show you that I'm more than my bank account. She looked at him, really looked. His eyes were tired. There were lines around his mouth that spoke of stress. He looked lonely as she felt sometimes, late at night in her tiny apartment. Why me? She asked. You could date anyone. Models, actresses, women who know which fork to use. He smiled sadly. I have dated those women. They're nice, beautiful. But there's always this distance, this performance. With you at dinner, I felt like I could breathe. You didn't care about impressing me. You just talked, honestly, about scrambled eggs and library books and real life. Do you know how rare that is? Alicia's defenses wavered. She understood what he meant. She'd felt it too, that ease, that connection. But connections could be dangerous. I don't know if I can do this, she admitted. Your world and mine, they're too different. What if I came to your world? What? What if we tried this again, but on your terms? No fancy restaurants, no drivers, no pretense, just coffee, or a walk in the park. Something normal. She studied his face, searching for signs of deception, but all she saw was hope, raw and vulnerable. One coffee, she heard herself say. That's it. His face lit up. Really? Don't make me regret this. I won't. I promise. He pulled out his phone. What's your number? She gave it to him. He typed it in, then sent her a text. This is Daniel, the guy who's terrible at first impressions. Despite everything, she smiled. There, he said softly. That's what I wanted to see. What? Your smile. It's worth more than all the gold chandeliers in the world. She rolled her eyes, but her smile widened. You're too smooth for your own good. Is it working? Maybe a little. He laughed. That good, genuine laugh that made her stomach flip. Frank appeared in the doorway. Break's over, Alicia. She stood. I have to go. Tomorrow? Daniel asked, standing too. Coffee? There's a cafe 3 blocks from here. Corner of 5th and Madison. 7 p.m. I'll be there. She walked back toward the diner, then paused and turned. Daniel? Yeah? Wear the jeans, not the suit. His smile could have lit up the entire city. Alicia changed her outfit 4 times before settling on jeans and a simple yellow blouse. Casual, comfortable, nothing too fancy. Maya watched from the doorway, grinning. You're nervous. I'm not nervous. You've changed clothes 4 times. I just want to look nice. Uh-huh. Maya flopped onto Alicia's bed. So what's the plan? Coffee and then what? There is no and then, just coffee. Girl, please, a man like that doesn't do just coffee. What's that supposed to mean? It means he could take you anywhere, but he's meeting you at some neighborhood cafe because that's what you asked for. That's not just coffee, that's effort. Alicia applied a light coat of lip gloss. Don't read too much into it. I'm reading exactly enough into it. Maya sat up. Look, I know you're scared. And you have good reasons, but what if, just what if, this is real? What if he really does like you for you? Then I'm in even more trouble. Why? Alicia turned to face her friend. Because I'll fall for him. And then what? We live in different worlds, Maya. He has galas and country clubs. I have a diner job and student loans. How does that work? Maybe it doesn't have to be that complicated. Maybe it's just two people who like each other. Nothing is ever that simple. Only if you make it complicated. Alicia checked the time. 6:45. I need to go. Maya hugged her. Text me and try to have fun, okay? You deserve something good. The walk to the cafe took 10 minutes. The evening air was warm. People were out, walking dogs, pushing strollers, heading to dinner. Normal life happening all around her. She reached the cafe at 6:58. Through the window she could see Daniel already sitting at a corner table. He was wearing jeans and a grey t-shirt. His hair was slightly messy, like he'd run his fingers through it too many times. He looked up and saw her. His whole face changed, lit up. Alicia pushed open the door. You came, he said, standing. I said I would. I know, but I was still nervous you'd change your mind. They sat. A waitress came over, Linda, who Alicia knew from the neighborhood. Her eyebrows rose slightly when she saw Daniel, but she just smiled and took their orders. Coffee for Alicia, the same for Daniel. When Linda left, an awkward silence settled over them. Daniel cleared his throat. So, I've been thinking about what you said, about our worlds being different. Daniel, no, let me finish. You're right. They are different, but maybe that's okay. Maybe we don't have to fit into each other's worlds. Maybe we can just exist together, find our own space. Alicia wrapped her hands around her coffee mug. That sounds nice in theory, but you don't think it'll work in practice? I don't know. She met his eyes. I need you to understand something. I've worked hard for everything I have. It's not much, but it's mine. I don't want to be someone's charity case, or a fun story about how you dated a waitress once. Is that what you think this is? I don't know what to think. He reached across the table, stopped just short of touching her hand. Can I tell you something? About my life? She nodded. My father died when I was 12. Heart attack, sudden, he was 45. Daniel's voice went quiet. After that, my mother became obsessed with the company, with preserving his legacy. She raised me to take over. Every decision, where I went to school, what I studied, who I spent time with, it was all about the business. That sounds lonely. It was. I had tutors instead of friends, board meetings instead of birthday parties. By the time I was 18, I could read a profit and loss statement better than most adults, but I couldn't hold a normal conversation. Alicia felt something soften in her chest. I'm not telling you this for pity, Daniel continued. I'm telling you so you understand. Yes, I have money, but I've never had someone look at me and see just me. Until you. Daniel, at that dinner, you didn't care about my watch or my suit or my last name. You just cared about whether I was interesting, whether I listened, whether I was kind, and that, his voice caught, that was the most valuable thing anyone's ever given me. Alicia's throat felt tight. This is scary. I know. I could get hurt. So could I. They looked at each other across the small table. The cafe bustled around them, coffee grinding, conversations murmuring. The world kept moving, but in that moment, it was just the two of them. One more chance, Alicia said finally. A real date. But we do it my way. No fancy restaurants, no cars, just us. Daniel's smile was brighter than any chandelier. Anything you want. Saturday, there's a park near my apartment. We can have a picnic. I'll bring the food. Nothing fancy. Sandwiches, fruit, normal picnic food. Deal. They drank their coffee and talked. Easy conversation that flowed like before. He asked about her week. She told him about Mrs. Patterson's grandson getting engaged. He told her about a meeting that went wrong because someone spilled coffee on important documents. They laughed. They listened. They slowly closed the distance across the table. When they left the cafe 2 hours later, the sun had set. The streetlights cast soft pools of gold on the sidewalk. Can I walk you home? Daniel asked. I'm only 3 blocks away. Then I'll walk you 3 blocks. They walked slowly, in no rush, their shoulders almost touching. At her building, Alicia turned to face him. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for giving me another chance. They stood there, close enough that she could see flecks of silver in his blue eyes, close enough that her heart started racing. Daniel lifted his hand slowly, gently tucked a curl behind her ear. His fingers were warm against her skin. Can I see you Saturday? He whispered. Yes. Good. He didn't move away. Neither did she. For a moment she thought he might kiss her. For a moment she wanted him to, but he stepped back. Good night, Alicia. Good night. She went inside, her skin still tingling where he'd touched her. Through the window she watched him walk away, hands in his pockets, a spring in his step. Upstairs, Maya was waiting with more ice cream and 1,000 questions. This time Alicia had answers. Good ones. Saturday was perfect, sunny but not too hot, a light breeze. The kind of day that made you believe in new beginnings. Alicia wore cut-off shorts and a simple tank top. Comfortable. Real. She met Daniel at the park entrance at noon. He was already there, carrying a backpack and a blanket. He'd followed her instructions. His food looked homemade, not catered. Sandwiches wrapped in paper, a container of strawberries, homemade lemonade in a thermos. "Did you make all this?" she asked. "I tried. The sandwiches might be a little messy." They found a spot under a large oak tree. Daniel spread the blanket while Alicia set out the food. Other families dotted the park. Kids playing, dogs running, people reading. Normal, beautifully normal. The sandwiches were messy, but delicious. They ate and talked and watched the clouds drift by. "Tell me something you've never told anyone," Daniel said. "Why?" "Because I want to know you. The real you." Alicia thought for a moment. "Sometimes I'm scared I'll work at the diner forever. That this is it. That I'll wake up when I'm 50 and realize I never did anything else." "What would you do if you could do anything?" "I don't know. Maybe go back to school, study business, open my own place someday. Not a diner, but maybe a cafe. Somewhere cozy where people feel welcome." "That sounds amazing." "It's just a dream. Dreams are important." He plucked a blade of grass. "I have one too." "What is it?" "I want to do something that matters, not just make money or close deals. Something real. Maybe a foundation that helps small businesses get started, gives people like you the chance to open that cafe." Alicia looked at him with new eyes. "You mean that?" "I do." He met her gaze. "Money doesn't mean much if you're not doing something good with it." Thunder rumbled in the distance. Dark clouds had rolled in while they were talking. "We should probably—" Alicia started. Rain came down. Not a gentle sprinkle, but a downpour. They both yelped and grabbed the food, shoving it into the backpack. Daniel balled up the blanket and they ran toward the parking lot. By the time they reached his car, a modest sedan, nothing flashy, they were completely soaked. Water dripped from their hair. Their clothes stuck to their skin. They looked at each other and burst out laughing. "So much for a perfect date," Daniel said, fumbling with his keys. "Are you kidding? This is great." They climbed into the car. The rain drummed on the roof. Steam rose from their wet clothes, fogging the windows. Alicia couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed this hard. Daniel turned to her, his hair plastered to his forehead. "You're beautiful." The laughter faded. The air between them shifted. "I'm soaking wet," she said softly. "Still beautiful." He reached over and tucked another curl behind her ear. His hand lingered on her cheek. "Daniel," she whispered, "tell me to stop and I will." She didn't tell him to stop. He leaned in slowly, giving her time to pull away. But she didn't want to pull away. She wanted this, wanted him. Their lips met, soft at first, tentative, then deeper. His hand cupped her face, her fingers tangled in his wet hair. The kiss tasted like rain and lemonade and something sweeter, something like hope. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "Wow," Daniel breathed. "Yeah," she agreed. They sat there, foreheads touching, as the rain continued to fall around them. The windows were completely fogged now. The world outside disappeared. It was just the two of them. Nothing else mattered. "I should tell you something," Daniel said quietly. "What?" "I'm falling for you hard, fast, probably too fast, but I can't help it." Her heart hammered. "That's scary, terrifying. I'm scared too," she admitted, "of getting hurt, of this not being real." "It's real." He kissed her forehead. "I promise you this is real." They stayed in the car until the rain stopped, talking, kissing, discovering each other. By the time Daniel drove her home, the sun was setting. The storm had passed, leaving everything clean and new. At her building, he walked her to the door, kissed her goodbye, promised to call tomorrow. Alicia floated up the stairs. Maya took one look at her face and squealed. "It's happening, isn't it?" "Maybe," Alicia said, unable to stop smiling. "Girl, you're glowing." She was. For the first time in years, she felt light, happy, like maybe, just maybe, good things could happen to her too. That night, she fell asleep with her phone on the pillow, Daniel's last text glowing on the screen. "Today was perfect. You're perfect. Sweet dreams." For 2 weeks, everything was perfect. Daniel picked her up after work. They went to movies and walked through neighborhoods and ate at food trucks. he met Maya, who grilled him mercilessly before declaring him acceptable. They texted constantly. He sent her photos of things that reminded him of her. Sunflowers, books in shop windows, coffee cups. She felt herself falling. It was exhilarating and terrifying. Then came Thursday. Alicia was wiping down tables when a woman walked into the diner. She was older, late 50s, with perfectly styled grey hair and expensive clothes. Everything about her screamed money and power. She walked straight to Alicia. "You're Alicia Grant," the woman said. Not a question, a statement. "Yes. Can I help you?" "I'm Eleanor Whitmore, Daniel's mother." Alicia's stomach dropped. Eleanor looked her up and down. Her expression was ice. "We need to talk." Alicia set down her cleaning rag. Her hands trembled slightly. "Okay." Eleanor glanced around the diner with thinly veiled disdain. "Not here. There's a cafe 2 blocks over. I'll wait for you there. I'm working. I'm sure your boss can spare you for 30 minutes. Eleanor's voice was smooth but firm, the voice of someone used to getting what she wanted. Frank appeared from the kitchen. "Go on, Alicia, it's slow anyway." Traitor. Again. Alicia untied her apron with stiff fingers. She followed Eleanor out of the diner, down the sidewalk, to a small cafe. Not the one where she'd had coffee with Daniel. A different one. Quieter. Eleanor chose a table in the back corner. She ordered tea. Alicia asked for water. Her throat felt too tight for anything else. "I'll get straight to the point," Eleanor said once they were alone. "Stay away from my son." The words hit like a slap. "Excuse me?" "You heard me." Eleanor's eyes were hard, grey-blue, like Daniel's but without any warmth. "I know your type. Girls like you see a wealthy man and think you've hit the jackpot." Alicia's face grew hot. "You don't know anything about me. I know you work at a diner. I know you live in a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. I know you're drowning in student debt from a degree you never finished." Eleanor sipped her tea calmly. "I know you see my son as a way out." "That's not true, isn't it? Tell me, what exactly do you have in common with Daniel? What could you possibly offer him?" The question hung in the air like poison. Alicia's hands clenched in her lap. "Love, honesty, someone who sees him as a person, not a bank account." Eleanor laughed. It was a cold sound. How noble. But love doesn't pay bills. And it certainly doesn't last when the novelty wears off. "Is that what you think, that I'm a novelty? I think you're young and naive. I think you have no idea what you're getting into." Eleanor leaned forward. "Daniel's life comes with responsibilities, expectations, social obligations. Can you even imagine attending a charity gala, making conversation with board members and politicians, representing the Whitmore name? I don't need to represent anything. I just need to care about Daniel. Care isn't enough." Eleanor's voice softened slightly, but the steel remained. "I've seen this before. Women who think they can handle our world, they last 6 months, maybe a year. Then they realize how exhausting it is, how isolating, how every move is scrutinized, and they leave. They break my son's heart and walk away. I would never—" "Everyone says that, until they do." Eleanor set down her teacup. "I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm trying to protect my son. He's been through enough." Alicia felt tears burning behind her eyes. She refused to let them fall. "Did Daniel send you here?" "No. He doesn't know I'm here. And you won't tell him." "Why not?" "Because if you really care about him, you won't create conflict between us. His family is all he has." The words were a chess move, perfectly played. Alicia stood up. Her legs felt shaky. "I need to get back to work. Think about what I said. Girls like you always want something. The question is whether you're willing to hurt Daniel to get it." Alicia walked out without responding. The afternoon sun felt too bright, the street too loud. She walked back to the diner in a daze. Maya found her that evening sitting on their apartment floor, staring at nothing. What happened? Alicia told her everything. Eleanor's words, her accusations, the way she'd made Alicia feel small and worthless. "That woman is ice," Maya said, "but she doesn't get to decide your worth." "What if she's right, though? What if I don't belong in Daniel's world? Since when do you care about belonging? You've never tried to fit in anywhere. You just be yourself." "But what if myself isn't enough?" Maya grabbed her shoulders. "Listen to me. You are smart, you are strong, you work your butt off every day, and you have a good heart. That's not nothing. That's everything. Eleanor said I'd break his heart. Or maybe she's scared you'll protect it better than she ever did." Alicia's phone buzzed. "Daniel, dinner tomorrow. There's something I want to show you." She stared at the message. Her finger hovered over the screen. "Don't let her win," Maya said quietly. "Don't give up something good because someone told you "You're not good enough." Alicia took a breath, typed back, "What kind of something? A surprise. Trust me." She did trust him. That was the terrifying part. "Okay, what time? I'll pick you up at 6. Daniel arrived exactly at 6, wearing jeans and a smile that made her heart ache. "Where are we going?" she asked as they drove out of the city. "You'll see." They drove for 40 minutes. The buildings gave way to trees. The streets became roads. Everything opened up. Finally, Daniel turned down a long driveway. At the end sat a house. No, not a house. An estate. Stone and glass and elegant architecture. Gardens stretched in every direction. A fountain bubbled near the entrance. Alicia's breath caught. "This is your house?" "My family's estate, yeah. I have an apartment in the city, but I thought you might like to see this." He parked and came around to open her door. Always a gentleman. The inside was even more impressive. High ceilings, artwork, a grand staircase that curved up to the second floor. Everything was beautiful and intimidating. "Daniel, this is too much." "I know." He rubbed the back of his neck. "But there's something I want to show you. Come on." He led her through the house, out glass doors into the gardens. They walked past roses and lilies and flowers she couldn't name, past a swimming pool that looked like it belonged in a magazine. At the edge of the property, there was a stable. Horses looked out from their stalls, curious and gentle. "You have horses?" Alicia asked. 3. "Want to meet them?" She'd never been close to a horse, but Daniel's enthusiasm was contagious. He introduced her to each one. Bella, a brown mare with kind eyes, Thunder, a black stallion who was all muscle and attitude, and Daisy, a gentle grey who let Alicia stroke her nose. "She likes you," Daniel said. "How can you tell?" "She's leaning into your hand. That's horse language for you're okay." They spent an hour with the horses. Daniel showed her how to brush them, how to offer carrots on flat palms. He was patient and sweet and completely in his element. As the sun started to set, they sat on a bench overlooking the gardens. "Why did you bring me here?" Alicia asked. "Because I want you to know all of me, not just the guy who takes you to diners and parks, but this too, my history, where I come from." He took her hand. "I know it's a lot, but it's part of who I am." "It's beautiful," she said honestly. "But how did you know there was a but?" "I'm learning to read you." He smiled softly. "What's wrong?" She thought about Eleanor, about belonging, about whether she should tell him. "Your mum came to see me," she said quietly. Daniel's expression changed. "What?" "Yesterday, at the diner, she told me to stay away from you. She had no right. She said I'm not good enough for your world, that I'll break your heart and leave." Daniel stood up, his jaw tight with anger. "I'm going to talk to her." "No." Alicia grabbed his hand. "That's what she wanted, to create conflict between us." "Alicia, she can't treat you like that." "I know, but if you defend me, she'll just see it as proof I'm manipulating you. We can't win against her. Not right now." He sat back down heavily. "I'm so sorry. My mother, she's protective, too protective, but that doesn't excuse what she said." "She's scared," Alicia said, surprising herself. "Scared of losing you, scared I'll take you away. You're being too understanding." "Maybe, but I get it. You're all she has, just like Maya's all I have." She squeezed his hand. "I just need to know, are you sure about this, about us?" "More sure than I've ever been about anything. Even knowing it'll be hard, that your family might never accept me. Even then." He pulled her close. "Alicia, I'm falling in love with you. Actually, I think I already fell, and I don't care what my mother thinks or what anyone else thinks. You're what I want." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I'm falling for you too. It scares me. Me too." He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "Stay tonight, please. Let me show you that this can be our world together." "Daniel, not like that. I don't want to drive you home. I want to fall asleep knowing you're here. Wake up and have breakfast together. Have one perfect weekend before reality crashes back in." She should say no, should be smart, should protect herself. But she was tired of being smart. "Okay," she whispered. One weekend. His smile was worth every risk. They made dinner together in the massive kitchen. Pasta and salad, nothing fancy. They ate on the terrace under string lights. They talked and laughed and kissed until the stars came out. Later, Daniel showed her to a guest room. But she didn't want to sleep alone, didn't want space between them. "Stay with me," she asked. They lay together in his bed, wrapped in each other's arms. He stroked her hair. She listened to his heartbeat. They kissed slowly, deeply, learning each other's rhythms. "I love you," he whispered against her skin. "I love you too." They made love slowly, gently, like they had all the time in the world, like nothing could touch them here. And for one night, nothing did. Alicia woke in his arms, sunlight streaming through the windows. Daniel was already awake, watching her with those ocean eyes. "Good morning," he said softly. "Hi. Sleep okay?" "Better than okay." She stretched, feeling content, safe, happy. They spent the day together. Breakfast on the terrace, a walk through the gardens, lazy afternoon reading in the library. It was perfect, too perfect, which is why Alicia should have known it couldn't last. Sunday evening, Daniel's phone started buzzing, over and over. He frowned and checked it. His face went pale. "What's wrong?" Alicia asked. He showed her the screen. Social media posts, articles, photos of them together, walking in the park, holding hands outside the cafe, entering his estate. The headlines were cruel. Whitmore heirs new fling. Gold digger or true love? From diner to dynasty, waitress catches billionaire sources. Say family disapproves of Daniel Whitmore's new romance. Alicia's stomach turned. "How did they—" "My cousin Troy." Daniel's voice was hard. "He must have been following us. He's done this before, tries to embarrass me." "Why?" "Jealousy. He thinks he should run the company instead of me." Daniel scrolled through more posts. "This is bad. Really bad." Alicia read the comments. They were worse than the articles. "She's clearly after his money. Poor guy can't see he's being used. Give it 3 months before she's gone." Each comment was a knife. "Daniel, I should go." "No, we can handle this." "How?" "The whole world thinks I'm using you." "I don't care what they think." "But I do." Her voice cracked. "I care that people look at us and see a transaction. I care that your family thinks I'm trash. I care that—" The door burst open. Eleanor stood there, her face like thunder. Behind her, a younger man smirked. Troy, presumably. "What is she doing here?" Eleanor demanded. "Mom, this isn't— In your bedroom, overnight." Eleanor's voice could have cut glass. "Do you have any idea what this looks like?" "It looks like I'm happy with someone I love." "It looks like you're being manipulated by a gold digger." Eleanor's composure cracked. "Wake up, Daniel. She's using you." "That's not true," Alicia said quietly. "Isn't it? You're suddenly dating a billionaire and spending weekends at his estate. What else would you call it?" Troy stepped forward. "Face it, cuz. She played you. They always do." "Shut up, Troy," Daniel snapped. "Did you tell her you're worth 800 million? Troy continued. "Or did you let her Google it?" "That's enough," Daniel's voice echoed through the house. "Both of you, get out." "This is my house too," Eleanor said coldly. "And I won't stand by while you ruin your reputation over some—" "Careful," Daniel warned. "Don't finish that sentence." The air crackled with tension. Alicia felt like she couldn't breathe. She grabbed her bag from the chair. "I need to go." "Alicia, wait." "Smart girl," Troy muttered. "I said enough." Daniel turned to Alicia. "Please don't leave like this." But she was already moving. Past Eleanor's ice-cold glare, past Troy's satisfied smirk, down the grand staircase, through the beautiful house that would never be hers. Daniel caught up with her outside. "Let me drive you home." "No? Then I'll call a car. I don't want anything from you right now." The words came out harsher than she meant. Daniel flinched. "I'm sorry," she said softer. I need space. To think. We can figure this out together." "Can we? Your mother hates me. Your cousin is spreading lies. The entire internet thinks I'm using you." "How do we fix that?" "By not caring what they think." "But I do care." Tears streamed down her face. "I care that loving you comes with all of this. I care that I can't just be with you without the world judging me. I care that maybe your mother is right. Maybe I don't belong here." "Don't say that." "Why not? Look around, Daniel. This isn't my world. It never will be. Then we'll make our own world. That's not how life works." She was crying harder now. "You can't just wish away reality. You can't fix this with love and good intentions." "Then what do you want me to do?" The question hung between them. Alicia pulled out her phone, opened the note app, typed quickly through her tears. "I don't belong in your world. I never did. I'm sorry." A she texted it to him. Then she turned and walked away. "Alicia," Daniel's voice broke. "Please." But she kept walking, down the long driveway, toward the main road, away from the fairy tale that had turned into a nightmare. She heard his footsteps behind her. "At least let me drive you. It's miles to the city. I'll call Maya. I love you." She stopped, turned. His face was destroyed, tears on his cheeks, pain in those beautiful blue eyes. "I love you too," she whispered. "That's why I'm leaving." She called Maya, waited by the road until her friend's beat-up car appeared, climbed in without looking back. Through the rear window, she saw Daniel standing in the driveway, a figure alone against the beautiful estate, getting smaller as they drove away. What happened? Maya asked gently. Reality, Alicia said. Reality happened. She cried the whole way home, ugly, gasping sobs that left her hollow, because loving Daniel wasn't enough. The world wouldn't let it be enough. The diner had never felt so grey. Alicia poured coffee, took orders, smiled when she was supposed to, but everything felt distant, like she was watching her life from behind glass. It had been a week since she left the estate. 7 days, 168 hours. She'd counted every one. Daniel had texted, called, left voicemails. Each message was gentle, patient, never pushing, just asking if she was okay, telling her he loved her, that he was waiting. She hadn't responded. Maya was worried. Frank was worried. Even the regulars noticed something was wrong. "You feeling all right, honey?" Mrs. Patterson asked on Thursday morning. "Just tired," Alicia lied. It was easier than the truth, easier than saying she'd walked away from the best thing that ever happened to her, because she was scared, because the world was too cruel, because love wasn't enough. The bell above the door chimed. 2 women came in, mid-30s, designer handbags, expensive shoes. They sat at a booth and spoke in voices that carried. "Did you see the photos of Daniel Whitmore and that waitress?" Alicia's hands froze on the coffee pot. "I heard his mother is furious," the other woman said. "Can you imagine? A Whitmore dating someone so beneath them. She was probably just after his money. They always are. I give it another week before he realizes his mistake." Something snapped inside Alicia. She walked over to their booth, set down the coffee pot with a thunk. Both women looked up, startled. "Hi," Alicia said, her voice steady. "I'm the waitress you're talking about." Their faces went red. We weren't—" "Yes, you were." Alicia crossed her arms. "And you're wrong. About all of it. We didn't mean— Daniel Whitmore is the kindest man I've ever met. He works 12-hour days trying to do good in the world. He remembers people's names. He listens when they talk. He cares, really cares." Her voice grew stronger. "And yes, he's rich. But that's not why I loved him. I loved him because he made me laugh, because he was honest, because he saw me as a person, not a waitress or a conquest or anything else." The women stared, speechless. "So before you judge someone you don't know, maybe consider that love doesn't care about bank accounts. Maybe consider that some people are exactly as good as they seem, and maybe consider keeping your opinions to yourself." She walked away, her heart pounding. Frank was at the kitchen window, grinning. "That's my girl." Mrs. Patterson started clapping. Then Mr. Chen. Soon the whole diner was applauding. Alicia felt tears burning, but she blinked them back, picked up the coffee pot, got back to work. She didn't see the man in the corner booth, didn't notice how he'd stopped eating, how he was staring at her with ocean blue eyes full of hope. Her shift ended at 3. Alicia was untying her apron when Daniel stepped out from behind the counter. She gasped. "What are you doing here?" "I heard you," he said quietly. "What you said to those women. You were here the whole time? I've been coming every day, sitting in the corner, hoping you'd talk to me." He took a step closer. "That was the bravest thing I've ever seen. It was just the truth. You said loved. Past tense." She looked away. "Daniel, do you still love me?" The question hung between them. Alicia felt all the walls she'd built start to crumble. "It doesn't matter," she whispered. "It's the only thing that matters. Your family is my problem, not yours. The world thinks I'm using you. The world is wrong." He reached for her hand slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers laced through hers, warm and familiar. "I've been miserable without you. I can't sleep, can't focus. All I do is think about you." "Me too," she admitted. "Then why did you leave?" "Because I'm scared." The words came out broken. "Scared I'm not enough. Scared your mother is right. Scared that loving you will cost me everything." "What if I told you I'm scared too?" "You? Of what? Of losing you, of not being enough, of my money being the only thing people see." His voice cracked. "Alicia, my whole life, no one has ever loved me for just me. No one has ever defended me the way you just did. You didn't have to, I'm not even yours anymore, but you did it anyway. You'll always be mine," she whispered, "even if we can't be together." "Why can't we?" "Because," she gestured helplessly, "everything, your world, my world, they don't fit. Then let's stop trying to fit, let's just be." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I don't know how." He pulled her close. She let him, buried her face in his chest and cried while he held her. The diner faded away. The world faded away. It was just them. "I have an idea," Daniel said finally. "But it's scary, and you might hate me for asking. What is it? Come to dinner, at my mother's house. Face her, face all of it, together." Alicia pulled back. "Are you crazy?" "Probably. But I need her to see what I see. I need her to know that you're not going anywhere, that I'm not giving you up. She'll never accept me. Maybe not, but I have to try. We have to try." He cupped her face. "I love you, Alicia Grant. I don't care about the gossip or the photos or what anyone thinks. I want you, just you, for as long as you'll have me. What if it goes wrong? Then we leave, together, and we figure out the rest as we go." She searched his eyes, found nothing but love and determination. "When?" "Tonight, 6 o'clock. That's in 3 hours." "I know, so you can't overthink it." Despite everything, she laughed. "You're impossible. Is that a yes?" She took a shaky breath. "It's a yes." Maya helped her get ready. A simple black dress, nothing fancy but elegant, her natural curls framing her face. "You look strong," Maya said, "like a warrior. I feel like I'm going to throw up." "That's just love, girl. It's terrifying and beautiful. Now go show that ice queen what you're made of." Daniel picked her up in his car. The drive to the estate felt different this time, less magical, more real. "You okay?" he asked, glancing over. "No, but I'm here." He squeezed her hand. "That's all that matters." The estate looked the same, beautiful and intimidating. Daniel parked and came around to open her door. "Whatever happens," he said, "I'm on your side, always." They walked in together, hand in hand. The dining room was set for 4. Eleanor sat at the head of the table in a navy dress and pearls. Troy sat across from her, smirking. "You actually brought her," Eleanor said coldly. "Her name is Alicia." Daniel pulled out a chair for her. "And yes, I brought the woman I love." Troy snorted. "This should be entertaining." "Shut up, Troy," Daniel said without looking at him. They sat, Alicia's heart hammered. A server brought wine, salads, the first course of what would probably be the longest dinner of her life. Eleanor ate delicately, studying Alicia over the rim of her wineglass. "So, you came back?" "Daniel asked me to." "And you do whatever he asks?" "No, I do what I think is right, even when it's hard." "How convenient." Daniel set down his fork. "Mum, stop. I'm simply trying to understand her motivations." "My motivation is loving your son," Alicia said, meeting Eleanor's gaze. "That's it. Not his money, not his name, just him. Everyone says that at first." "I'm not everyone." Alicia kept her voice steady. "I know what you think of me. You think I'm some poor girl who got lucky, who saw an opportunity and took it. But you're wrong." "Am I?" "Yes, because if I wanted his money, I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have walked away when things got hard. I would have stayed and played the game, but I didn't, because I can't be with Daniel if it costs him his family, if it costs him his peace. I love him too much for that." Something flickered in Eleanor's eyes. Surprise, maybe. Troy leaned back in his chair. "Great speech, very touching. But let's be real. You left because you got scared, because you realized you're in over your head." "Maybe," Alicia admitted. "But I came back. That's what matters. You came back because Daniel asked, because you know a good thing when you see it. I came back because I love him." She turned to Daniel. "And because he's worth fighting for." Daniel's eyes shone. "Alicia." "No." She stood up. Her chair scraped against the floor. "I'm not done, Mrs. Whitmore. You're right about some things. I don't know your world. I don't own designer clothes or know which fork to use first. I work at a diner. I take buses. My biggest luxury is buying books from the library sale." Eleanor's expression was unreadable. "But I know what real love looks like, and it's not this." Alicia gestured at the grand dining room. "It's not money or status or controlling your son's life because you're scared of being alone. Real love is letting go. It's trusting. It's wanting someone's happiness, even when it's not what you planned." "How dare you?" Eleanor began. "I love your son," Alicia continued, her voice shaking but firm. "And I would give up everything for him. I would work 3 jobs. I would live in a cardboard box. I would face 1,000 more dinners like this one, because that's what love is. It's choosing someone over and over, even when it's hard." The room was silent. Then Daniel stood. "And I feel the same way." Everyone turned to look at him. "Mom, I love you, but I won't let you choose my life anymore." His voice was calm but absolute. "I love Alicia. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And if you can't accept that, then I'll leave. I'll walk away from the company, the money, all of it. Eleanor's face went pale. You don't mean that. I do. Because Alicia is right. Love matters more than anything else, and I choose her. Daniel, you're not thinking clearly? I've never thought more clearly in my life. Troy stood up, his face red. This is insane. You're going to throw away everything Dad built for some waitress? Don't call her that, Daniel warned. Why not? That's what she is. A nobody playing dress-up. Daniel's jaw clenched. Get out. You can't kick me out. Aunt Eleanor. Actually, Troy, there's something you should know. Daniel pulled out his phone, tapped the screen. I've been doing some digging. Those photos that leaked. The ones that started all this. I traced them back to an account. Your account. Troy's smirk faltered. That's ridiculous. Is it? Because I have proof. Messages. Timestamps. Everything. Daniel's voice was ice. You've been trying to sabotage me for months. Spreading rumors. Leaking information to competitors. All because you thought you deserved to run the company instead of me. Eleanor stood abruptly. Troy, is this true? No, he's lying. I have lawyers reviewing it right now, Daniel continued, along with several other discrepancies in the accounts you managed. Unauthorized expenses, missing funds, should I keep going? Troy's face crumbled. He looked at Eleanor desperately. Aunt Eleanor, you can't believe him. He's choosing her over family. You betrayed this family, Eleanor said coldly. Get out. Now. But now. Troy grabbed his jacket and stormed out. The door slammed behind him. Silence fell over the dining room. Eleanor sat down slowly. She suddenly looked older, tired. She reached for her wineglass with a trembling hand. I didn't know, she said quietly. I know, Mom. I thought, her voice broke. I thought I was protecting you. After your father died, all I could think about was keeping you safe, keeping the company safe, making sure no one took advantage of you. I understand, Daniel said gently, but I'm not a child anymore. I can make my own choices. Eleanor looked at Alicia, really looked at her. You would have walked away. Even loving him, you walked away. To protect him, Alicia said, from gossip, from conflict with you, because his happiness matters more than mine. That's, Eleanor paused. That's what love is, isn't it? Sacrifice. Yes. Eleanor was quiet for a long moment. Then she did something Alicia never expected. She stood and walked around the table, stood in front of Alicia. I owe you an apology, Eleanor said. I judged you without knowing you. I assumed the worst because I was afraid of losing my son, afraid of not being needed anymore. But you're right. Real love means letting go. Tears spilled down Alicia's cheeks. Mrs. Whitmore, Eleanor, please. She reached out hesitantly. May I? Alicia stood. Eleanor pulled her into a stiff, awkward hug, but it was a start. Take care of my son, Eleanor whispered. He needs someone who sees him for who he really is, and that's you. I will. I promise. When they pulled apart, Daniel was crying too. Happy tears. Eleanor cleared her throat, composing herself. Well, this dinner has certainly been eventful. Perhaps we should start over, with dessert and civil conversation. They sat back down. This time the atmosphere was different, lighter. The server brought chocolate cake. They talked, really talked. Eleanor asked about Alicia's work, her dreams. Alicia asked about Daniel's father, his childhood. It wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments, still uncertainty, but it was real, honest, a foundation to build on. After dinner, Daniel drove Alicia home. They sat in the car outside her building, neither wanting the night to end. That was the bravest thing I've ever seen, Daniel said. What you said to my mother. I was terrified. So was I. But we did it. Together. What happens now? He turned to face her. Now we live, we date, we figure things out as we go. Maybe I meet Frank properly. Maybe you come to a boring business dinner with me. Maybe we just exist together and see what happens. That sounds nice. Alicia, I meant what I said. I would give up everything for you. The money, the company, all of it. I know, but you don't have to. We'll figure it out. Both worlds. Together. He cupped her face, kissed her slowly, deeply. A kiss that tasted like hope and promises and forever. I love you, he whispered. I love you too. Come with me. Right now. Where? Anywhere. Everywhere. Let's walk through the city. Just us. No plans. No expectations. Just two people in love. She smiled. Okay. They got out of the car. Daniel took her hand, lacing their fingers together. They walked through the neighborhood, past the diner where they'd reconnected, past the cafe where they'd had coffee, past the park where they'd kissed in the rain. The city glowed around them. Streetlights cast golden pools on the sidewalk. Music drifted from open windows. The world was alive and beautiful and full of possibility. "I want to ask you something," Daniel said as they walked. "What?" "It's too soon, I know it's too soon, but I have to say it anyway." Alicia's heart started racing. "Daniel, I don't want fancy dinners or grand gestures. I don't want what everyone expects. I just want mornings with you. Coffee and conversation and normal life." He stopped walking, turned to face her under a streetlight. "I want to build something real, something that's ours. Not my family's or society's or anyone else's, just ours." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want a future with you, however that looks, wherever it takes us. I'm saying that 3 weeks ago, I met you and my whole world changed, and I never want to go back to how things were before." Tears streamed down her face. "I want that too." "Yeah?" "Yeah." She laughed through her tears. "I want coffee in the morning, and walks at night, and fighting about what to watch on TV. I want real life with you, the boring parts and the beautiful parts and everything in between." He pulled her close, kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips. "Then let's do it. Let's build our own world." "Starting when?" "Starting right now." They stood there on the sidewalk, wrapped in each other's arms as the city moved around them. Cars passed. People walked by. Life continued. But in that moment, they were the only two people in the world. "Thank you," Daniel whispered. "For what?" "For seeing me, for loving me, for being brave enough to fight for us. Thank you for finding me, for showing me that good things can happen, that I'm worth fighting for too." They started walking again, hand in hand, no destination. Just moving through the city together. Alicia thought about the raffle ticket, the cream-colored invitation, how scared she'd been walking into that restaurant. She'd thought it was just a free meal, a brief escape from reality, but it had been so much more. It had been the beginning of everything. "What are you thinking about?" Daniel asked. "How different my life was a month ago. How lonely I was, without even realizing it." "Are you still lonely?" She squeezed his hand. "Not anymore." They walked until their feet hurt, until the moon was high and the streets were quiet, until they found themselves back at Alicia's building. "Come up," she said. "Meet Maya properly. Have terrible instant coffee. Be part of my world. I'd love nothing more." They climbed the stairs to her apartment. Maya opened the door before they could knock, eyes wide. "I heard everything from Mrs. Chen," she said. "She heard it from Frank, who heard it from Mrs. Patterson. You stood up to his mother." "She did," Daniel said, grinning. "It was incredible." Maya pulled Alicia into a fierce hug. "I'm so proud of you. Thanks for pushing me, for not letting me give up. That's what best friends do." Maya pulled back and looked at Daniel. "You hurt her again, and I don't care how much money you have. I will end you." "Understood," Daniel said seriously, "and for what it's worth, I have no intention of ever hurting her." "Good. Now get in here. We're having celebratory ice cream." They sat on the worn couch in the tiny apartment, eating ice cream from the container, talking and laughing. Daniel fit into Alicia's world as easily as breathing. He asked Maya about her work, complimented the apartment, never once made them feel less than, because to him, they weren't less than, they were everything. Later, when Maya went to bed, Daniel and Alicia sat on the fire escape, the city spread out below them, lights twinkling like earthbound stars. "I could get used to this," Daniel said. "Cramped apartments and cheap ice cream. You, this, us." He put his arm around her. She leaned into him. "It's perfect. It's real. Even better." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city breathe. Alicia thought about Eleanor's transformation, about Troy's betrayal being exposed, about how everything had fallen apart and then come back together, stronger than before. Life wasn't a fairy tale. There would be more obstacles, more judgments, more moments of doubt, but they would face them together. "I love you," she said into the quiet night. "I love you too." He kissed the top of her head. "Thank you for giving me a chance, for believing in us, always." Somewhere in the city, a clock struck midnight, a new day beginning, a new chapter starting. Alicia Grant had won a raffle for dinner with a mysterious stranger. She'd walked into a restaurant with chandeliers and come out with something far more valuable than any meal. She'd found love, real, honest, transformative love, the kind that changed everything, the kind that made you believe in magic, after all. Daniel stood and held out his hand. "Dance with me? There's no music. So? We'll make our own." She took his hand, let him pull her to her feet. They swayed slowly on the fire escape, creating their own rhythm, their own melody. Two people from different worlds, building something entirely new, and as they moved together under the stars, Alicia knew with absolute certainty that this messy, imperfect, beautiful thing they were creating was worth everything. Love was worth everything. Always had been. Always would be. The end.